I'm sure we have all heard by now that the palace has officially given Archie and Lily the titles of prince and princess. This came after Harry and Meghan reported that they christened their daughter in Montecito as princess. It made a lot of us wonder if the king gave in to their demands or not. It turns out that he didn't actually give in to their demands because their children would have been titled as prince and princess regardless because of this thing called letters patent. This letters patent was issued by King George V. It limited the title Prince or Princess of the United Kingdom of Great Britain to the children of the sovereign, the grandchildren of the sovereign in the male line, and the eldest son of the eldest son of the Prince of Wales. To bring it home, this letter meant that the children of the Queen Elizabeth would be titled Prince and Princess. That's Prince Charles, Prince Andrew, Prince Edward, and Princess Anne. And then the grandchildren of the sovereign in the male line could be titled Prince and Princess. So all of Prince Charles, Prince Andrew, and Prince Edward's children could have Prince and Princess titles. Prince Edward and Sophie opted out of giving their children titles. So that gives us Prince William, Prince Harry, Princess Beatrice, and Princess Eugenie. Where it gets tricky is with the fourth generation being William's children. The letters patent of King George V states that only the eldest son of the eldest son of the Prince of Wales gets the title prince. The Prince of Wales at the time was Charles, so the eldest son of the eldest son of Charles gets the title prince. George is the eldest son of the eldest son, being William. So according to King George's letter, only William's first son, George, will get the title. Where it gets even trickier is that in 2012, Queen Elizabeth issued another letters patent, which made it so that all of William's children will get prince and princess titles. Because of Queen Elizabeth's amendment, the title of prince and princess was not only reserved for George, but now George, Louis, and Charlotte can all be titled as prince and princess. If Queen Elizabeth had not made that amendment, only George would have been prince. Louis and Charlotte would have had to wait till Charles became king to get the titles of prince and princess, according to the letters patent of King George V, because now they are the direct grandchildren, or they will be the direct grandchildren of King Charles. So the question now is, why did Queen Elizabeth issue another letters patent that gave titles to all of William's children? All right, you guys, don't crucify me here, but I'm made to believe now that when Meghan and Harry said this on Oprah, when they made the statement about why are some grandchildren titled one way and other grandchildren are not giving the titles, I think she was referring to why the Queen issued an amendment to give all of William's children a title, but wouldn't issue an amendment or another letters patent to give Harry's children titles. But then they ended up making it a race thing, which is still quite unnecessary because even with King George V's letters patent, none of Harry's children would have been titled as prince and princess anyway. Queen Elizabeth made an adjustment to include all of William's children instead of just one. Meghan wanted Queen Elizabeth to completely change the order and give titles to all of the great-grandchildren of the sovereign. Prince and princess titles specifically, because if they make one exception for Harry, they have to make exceptions for all the grandchildren so that all the children of the grandchildren now have titles. So it gets very clunky and it gets very confusing. But Harry and Meghan couldn't see from that perspective, and they decided to make it a race thing, which to me is a myopic way for her to view things because at the time, the great-grandchildren were only Harry and William's children. If the amendment Meghan wanted became a decree, that will mean for the future that all the children of Archie, Lily, George, Louis, and Charlotte will have titles as prince and princess. Imagine future generations. This could mean 50 to 60 people walking around with the titles of prince and princess, when the whole goal of King George V's letters patent was to limit the titles of prince and princess. I think these are the kind of conversations that were had behind the scenes, yet it seems Harry and Meghan couldn't understand it from the perspective of it being about the line of succession, it being about generations. They made it about, wait, you did it for William, why can't you do it for me? Racism, it's racism. But in William's case, one child being George was always entitled to the title of prince. And so to have one child in their immediate family be prince and then the other children not have the title is a little hard to explain to children. And I think that that's probably what made the queen agree to that little amendment. So the queen wasn't changing the total order of King George's letter. She just added a little stipulation like, okay, King George wanted your first son to be prince, but instead of making just George being William's son prince, I'm just going to extend that favor to all of your children because it's kind of weird. Like Prince George and then the like Charlotte and Louis are, you get my drift. Well, anyway, so in Harry's case, using King George V's letters patent, none of his children would have the title of prince and princess anyway. All they had to do was wait for King Charles to ascend to the throne, and their children would automatically get titles by custom, by decree, by law. That's just the way it is. The grandchildren of the king, the grandchildren of the sovereign are automatic prince and princess. That's all they had to do was wait. But instead of waiting, they ran on Oprah to go cry racism. They write books. Anyway, so I think that it's not so much that King Charles is weak, but the titles were always for the children. Harry and Meghan just kept flip-flopping. We want titles. We don't want titles. We want to wait. We don't care about titles. Oh, wait. Now we do. We do. We care about titles. So I think the palace just didn't know what to do. They were kind of waiting on Harry and Meghan's lead. What do you want? You want it? You don't want it? So after Harry and Meghan announced their daughter as princess, the palace followed suit and then just changed the order on the website. However, I do find Harry and Meghan's timing very interesting. I think it's a little funny to me that they now want the titles now that it's so close to the coronation. They know that the line of succession is important for this event, and it might be read during the coronation or it might be constantly reported by news channels that entire weekend. The line of succession, and their children's names are going to be read. So now they want to make sure that their children's names are read with the titles of prince and princess during the coronation or before the coronation. And it's like, wow, these people. But with how much King Charles wants to slim down the monarchy, I will not be surprised if he amends the letters patent or makes a new letters patent so that only the children of working royals have the titles prince and princess. At least I certainly hope he does. But that's something I can definitely see, especially with the eviction move that he did. So if you're not working and you're living in Montecito, your children cannot have titles. I can see him doing something like that. But I guess we'll just wait and see. Well, that's it. I just wanted to bring you this piece of information. It's something that I learned. And so hopefully it helps you clear your confusion. All right. Bye.